Podcasts are hot right now. How do I know? Well, you're listening to one right now, aren't you? But you might be wondering, how on earth do I get my voice out there and start my own podcast? It all seems so intimidating. Between hosting and platforms and monetization, it can get real complicated real quick. Well, I'm going to let you in on a little secret. We started this podcast over 2 years ago, not knowing clue one on how to do it. So how do we do it? We did it with Anchor. Anchor is the free podcast app with creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. And Anchor will distribute your podcast for you, so it can be heard on all the platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. And everybody likes money, right? Well, you can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. So go right now, download the free Anchor app, or go to Anchor FM to get started.
It's the eCommerce Minute, your daily dose of e-commerce, tech, and retail news with your hosts, Bart, Mroz, and John Suder. The eCommerce Minute is a production of SUMO Heavy, a digital commerce consulting firm in Brooklyn, New York, and Philadelphia. Find us on the web at sumoheavy.com.
It's eCommerce Minute episode 643.
In this episode, Sephora to open 100 stores in 2020.
Due to the recent retail apocalypse, we've been reporting a lot about massive store closures from some of our most beloved bricks and mortar stores. Pier 1, Forever 21, AC Moore, and Gap are just a few chains that have closed many, if not all of their stores. According to CoreSite research, in 2019, store closures jumped about 60% from the 5,844 store closures the firm tracked back in 2018. And if you think that's bad, investment bank UBS says as online shopping continues to grow, another 75,000 stores could be lost by 2026. But there's an industry that continues to flourish in this climate, and that's the beauty and cosmetics industry. The cosmetics industry was worth $93.5 billion with a B dollars in the U.S. market in 2019, and the global beauty industry is worth over $500 billion with a B dollars, which is exactly why beauty chain Sephora is opening 100 new stores in North America in 2020. New locations will open in 75 different cities, including Charlotte, North Carolina, San Jose, California, and Nashville, Tennessee. Sephora seems to be taking a page from Ulta's playbook and moving outside of the mall. That means they'll be opening locations close to where customers live and work, including street and local centers, as well as a mix of new and established shopping centers, per the release. Local stores will also have a different layout than the rest of its fleet, with hair care and skincare featured at the front of the store, a Sephora studio for skin and beauty services, and traditional features like mobile checkout, find your fragrance, and beauty on the fly. All stores in the expansion will be made with cost-effective materials to allow for more investment in, quote, client-centric experiences, unquote, and will be powered with 100% renewable energy. They will all feature beauty services and digital beauty tools like the retailer's foundation matching Color IQ technology. The experiential aspects of purchasing makeup far outweigh the need for experiential clothes shopping, so it's no wonder that beauty stores are steadily rising in both profit and sheer store amounts.
That last paragraph sums it up. I really think that if you choose all of the things in retail right now, the keyword, the buzzword is either DTC or experiential. And what's more experiential than buying makeup? I think coming close to that would be buying a mattress.
You're so right, actually. Like, we need those mattress industry stats, the sleep industry, if you will, because that's a really good point.
Well, it's funny. We may do a podcast about this with Casper having an upcoming IPO. Casper they were the lead dog of the mattress in the box category. And now I think last count, there's 175 competitors. And they're trying to IPO. So it's a crowded space, which means A, they did something right, but B, there's no point of differentiation anymore. So let's get back to Sephora. This is more up your alley, but from what I'm seeing, all the features in this store, are these now smaller footprint Sephoras? I've only been in a Sephora once or twice with my girlfriend, and that was under duress and protest. All I just remember is bright lights and lots of mirrors, and oh my God, I have to get out of here.
Yeah, they are going to scale them down a bit and focus them more on like the sections of experience instead of just like carrying like masses of product, because these ones are going to be like more so in strip malls, which is like less space, you know what I mean, than like obviously being in a huge mall. So I think that's like obviously a really good idea for them to like start focusing on like separated experiential sections, because they're already trying to do that, you know, like if you go into Sephora, there's like the perfume section where you could try all the perfumes, and there's the skincare, and you know, each Sephora employee is like specialized in that like type of thing. Mm-hmm. So I feel like they're just like bouncing off of that and like literally like physically sectioning it off now.
That's very interesting. This is not a category that I'm intimately familiar with. So how does Sephora compare with Ulta?
So Ulta is more drugstore. So Ulta has like affordable bath and makeup and skincare in it too, and like all of the accessories that you would need for that.
Okay.
Whereas Sephora is like high end to luxury
So
makeup.
Ulta, you could buy a comb, but Sephora, you could only just buy the makeup itself.
At Sephora, you could buy the comb, but it's like $38.
It's a $38 comb.
Yeah,
Where's the
it's a wet
$9 comb
brush.
in Ulta, right?
Yes, exactly, precisely. Precisely.
Okay.
Which, so I like Ulta for obviously that reason, but I like Sephora because it's a bougier, more extra experience. You feel fancy when you're in Sephora, you know?
No, I get that. And I think that is important when, especially something with makeup. I don't know what the markups are on makeup, but I mean, there's got to be a reason why one perfume is $28 and another perfume is $280. I mean, it's all marketing and impression and all that kind of. I mean, obviously some quality is built in there, but the margins can be sometimes crazy on this beauty stuff. And from the stories that we've done is that there's good stuff and then there's just crap out there, you know? I think, and I think it's sometimes hard to differentiate, especially if you're someone who's shopping online. How do you buy this stuff online? How do you know that it's any good?
Yeah, exactly. Like, so if you're getting a foundation, for example, online, so there's about a million factors into buying a foundation having to do with like the individual, right? So like, whereas you're buying a t-shirt on Forever 21, it's a t-shirt, you know what I mean? But like when you're buying a foundation, like, do you have warm or cool undertones? Is your skin oily or dry? You know, that kind of thing. And so it's not impossible to buy stuff. Like if you're a repeat buyer, that's where like their e-commerce really comes in. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right. Like subscribe and save. Like my girlfriend buys this certain Olay washcloth thing that she gets, and we just put that on autopilot. But that would be a certain thing that she already knows. The predetermined quality has already been set. Whereas I just can't imagine like buying, I don't know, lipstick or foundation or whatever it is. It's not knowing how accurate is the color online? What is the quality of it? Like, what is it made out of? It's just like a lot of variables there.
Oh my gosh, yeah. And that's a really good point. And people are getting more conscious of like what's going into their beauty now too, and like how it reacts with their skin. Because I mean, before we started getting really big on like these additives and in skincare and stuff like that, like people are probably breaking out left and right because they're putting like like I don't even know, not silicone, but like asbestos on their face.
You don't know. Yeah. And you don't know. I mean, because you don't know the source of it. And I think, and you made a good point, is that consumers are being more aware and more educated about what goes into things. And manufacturers and retailers are paying attention to that and, you know, tweaking their inventories and products to reflect that. That's a net positive for consumers. Mm-hmm. It's a net negative for the retailer if he suddenly has to stop carrying the $2 eyeshadow and has to cover the price of the $8 eyeshadow. But in the long term, you know, it's good for the consumer because you don't know what's in some of this crap.
Would you believe that a single eyeshadow from some brands is like $32?
$32. That's wow.
I kid you not.
Is there a real difference in quality between a $32 one and what's the next price point? $20 or $19 or? So
yeah. So for example, like NARS would have a $32 and Chanel would have a $32 or maybe even like $40 for Chanel. But then like ColourPop, which is like D2C, it's a little more in between that. So their shadows would be like $9. Okay. And then you have like Complete Drugstore, which would be like Wet n Wild, which their shadows are literally $1 and pretty decent, actually. $1. So really, you got to find the good finds. That's the tea on makeup as an entire whole. Like you can really, like Wet n Wild in particular is a huge brand at the drugstore. They actually make a lot of quality stuff. Like if you're like balling on a budget and you need like effective stuff, like there's Wet n Wild. Whereas like if you have expendable income, yeah, you can buy the $40 Chanel eyeshadow like I did when I was in Manhattan that one time and I felt like I needed to. You know, and so sometimes there is that difference, but it's like on both sides, you know what I mean? So like the Chanel eyeshadow could be crap and $40, but you'd still buy it because it has that label. It's all about label and association, not only in clothing, but in makeup and perfume.
No, it's true. It's absolutely true. So why don't you tell me about you have in the story here, they launched a series of merchandising initiatives around up-and-coming brands, including Sephora's next big thing, a space dedicated to displaying new makeup brands. Is that something that a manufacturer has to pay to be part of, or does Sephora like curate that and select that on their own, or do you know anything about that?
Yeah, so it's kind of like, you know, how like classic like advertising 101 when you're in like a grocery store and you see like the top shelf, the eye level shelf, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And they have to pay to get the better space.
Pay for shelf space.
It's not even like advertising. It's all about like partnerships. So like, for example, if like Kylie's partnered with Ulta and she's a partner of that entire company, like her stuff will be up front. So it's more kind of about like the word partnership than like buying the space.
Yeah, well, it's partnership, meaning the money comes back either in ad dollars or discounts or something, some kind of arrangement like that,
Right.
which, it's supposed to benefit both, but, sometimes it doesn't always work out. It's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
So compared to Sephora, Ulta has how many stores? They opened 100 stores last year. Do you have a total store count on Ulta?
I would say Ulta has more than Sephora because from 2012 to 2018, Ulta opened 100 stores. So that's 600 and Sephora has around 500.
675.
Yeah.
Ulta has 675 and Sephora,
they had 490. So now they're going to have 590.
Sephora operates 2,600 stores in 34 countries nationwide, but only 460 in America.
Right. So yeah, Ulta, as I would have guessed, because they're more drugstore anyway,
right.
That would make sense that there would be more of those.
Gotcha. Oh, Sephora is from France. Didn't know that.
But yeah, I mean, it's no surprise to us, obviously, that this is the industry that's thriving. I mean, we said it again, like having that in-store experience with makeup, skincare, mattresses completely outweighs ordering online. And I think that will always, always, always be the case for makeup. Like I can't see an invention that would make that not the case.
Well, it's funny. There's, you have the AR try-ons for lipstick and things like that. And that was like a big gimmick when it first came out a couple of years ago, where it's like, oh, AR is going to be the thing. And now, do you use AR makeup try-ons?
Heck no, because even if I did, that would be fine and dandy, but I'd have no idea how it would react to my skin.
Good point.
And so that's the thing. That will always be the thing so long as makeup is an industry. You'll never...
I think the AR makeup thing is like I said, it's kind of gimmicky, and you're exactly right. It's like, doesn't speak to the quality of it. You have AR things like AR clothing or AR furniture. I mean, that's a perfect thing for AR, but I think makeup, while it seems like it would make sense, you're exactly right in that it doesn't speak to the quality of what it does to your actual skin, because layering some pixels over your eye and saying that that's eyeshadow is not the same as actually putting these chemicals on your face.
Exactly. And, AR obviously serves its purpose for really low risk stuff. Like I would say lipstick and eyeshadow is more low risk than foundation AR, because with foundation, like your entire face could get like cystic acne, like boom, bam, from a bad foundation. You know what I mean?
Okay.
You have no idea.
Cystic acne, geez.
I'm like using hyperbole, but like, like you could like seriously have horrible breakouts from like even a high-end foundation, because like everybody's skin chemicals are different and react differently with stuff. So, like I said, with like the low risk stuff like lipstick and eyeshadow, like it's chill to use AR. But like I don't even see AR anymore on any of my makeup websites. Like
it's funny. So like, I guess when we first started this podcast about 3 years ago, there was a ton of stories, and that was like the big buzzword, and all the press releases were like, so-and-so comes up with AR powered thing. And then they would get the buzz out of it. Then you really don't hear too much about it after that.
Right. I remember when I was in college around the time of AR, everyone was like, AR, we're going to do this test on AR and you're going to know how to code for AR. And I was like, oh my God. And it's, what that reminds me of? That reminds me of barcodes, like scan or QR codes. That's
QR codes.
QR codes. That reminds me. All the teachers were like, QR codes.
I think anyone listening to this podcast knows how I feel about QR codes.
But it's the same thing as AR, right? Like everybody thought that like you had to graduate in AR.
No, and I had a lot of clients when I was a solo designer. I had a lot of clients who were like, no, you got to make space for the QR codes. I'm like, you realize that just because you have a QR code doesn't mean it needs to go on every single piece of propaganda you print, don't you?
Oh my God.
No, it has to be on there. And, QR codes, if you ever saw one, they're pretty ugly. So I'd have to make space for QR codes. It's like hideous.
They're hideous. They're butt ugly. And I'm glad that they fell off as quickly as they blew up, because where do you see QR codes for anything besides like...
They're still around, but I think, again, it's like kind of a niche thing. There is a use for it, but not as widespread as everyone had imagined when it was first rolled out.
Yeah, you're right.
All right. We only have one stat time. A February report from the NPD Group found that prestige makeup sales declined 7% in 2019, while skincare was up. Now, when we say prestige makeup sales, what does that mean?
Oh, like luxury.
Luxury?
Yeah, in regard to like Sephora.
Do you think that people are wearing less makeup or more? I know that kind of goes up and down.
I think people are not only wearing less makeup, I think people are being just generally more sustainable. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like figuring out that most of the makeup brands we knew and loved back in like 2012 are not putting great stuff in their products or are using unsustainable packaging, or people are trying to use up what they already have instead of buying more because they're trying to save the planet, those kinds of things.
And plus everybody wants to have that fresh scrubbed Visco girl look.
Yes, that's why skincare is going up too, because D2C like brands like Glossier that specialize in skincare are going crazy right now, like having a major moment. And it like a lot of like niche, like kitschy, like not like, I don't want to use gimmicky because that's like kind of derogatory, but like super like branded things like Glossier are like taking off with skincare right now. So that stat makes a ton of sense when you think about the current climate of sustainability and naturalness.
Right. Gotcha. We'll do more stories on that DTC blowing up. We'll keep an eye on that space, especially in the makeup category. All right. Got anything else?
No.
Nope. All right. That's your e-commerce minute for today. We'll see you on the internet tomorrow. That's it for today's show. If you like the show, do us a favor and subscribe or leave us a review on iTunes. And don't forget, you can now listen to the e-commerce minute on your Amazon device. Just add e-commerce minute to your flash briefing. And finally, if you have a comment or suggestion or just want to say hi, find us on social media at SUMO Heavy.